Hey everybody, welcome back. Welcome to 2019. It has been a long time. I appreciate all of you who stuck around. Um, yeah, it's been a long time. Life's been busy. I haven't had a chance to really do anything on YouTube. I've missed doing it. My life is going to continue to get pretty busy, so I probably won't be doing a lot of videos. But it's a new year. I thought I would jump in and do a Blu-ray collection update video, and maybe follow up with another series of full collection videos because my collection has changed. I'd say quite a bit over the past, what's it been, 6 or 7 months since my last video. But yeah, it's a new year, and I was hoping to do monthly update videos, which I clearly have not been doing. So I thought I would do one overall Blu-ray update video, just kind of an overview of where the collection's at and how I have it organized and all that fun stuff, before I jump into a full detailed collection video a bit later on. So you may notice I am in a completely different part of my house. I am in my living room. This is where I'll start the video, because part of my busy past several months is that we have a new baby coming. So in the process of planning, my wife's office is turning into the baby's room, and my room downstairs, part of it has turned into my wife's office. So for the sake of space, a chunk of the Blu-ray collection was moved upstairs, which is primarily, as you can see up here, some of my wife's box sets are Disney Blu-rays, followed by the MCU and Star Wars, and then a few of her steelbooks, and then just kind of a selection, 4 shelves. Just these are kind of more of the Blu-rays that, if my wife is up here, she wants to put something on, these are the ones she's likely going to choose from, not so much what's downstairs. There are a lot here that I still like, some that I love, but these are, I kind of pulled out the ones she's more likely to watch or want to have access to without having going down to the basement, and that opened up a little space downstairs. But the bulk of my collection is still down there, which I will get into, or television stuff, which is very little. I don't have a lot of TV stuff, but the bulk of my collection is still down in my room in our basement. I'm gonna transport there right now. All right, so we're back down here, and so the way I have this collection set up now, I do have limited space, so I was able to, and these shelves I still have 9 of these shelves down here. They were pretty much full, more than full. I had no room left, so I opted to expand a bit. Now, I've had this set up similar in the past, but I added this large kind of bookshelf style shelf. And this one I have all of my boutique Blu-rays, which, I mean, you probably know what that means, but if you don't, just like small labels that release, cult favorites, obscure films. Just, Shout Factory is a great example because their goal is just to release films they believe deserve a decent Blu-ray release, and they have a great catalog. Yeah, so I keep these are my Steelbook, Scream and Shout Factory Steelbooks there, and then these I do separate by slipcover and no slipcovers, which I don't do with the rest of my collection, but I do with these because I feel like the slipcovers on Shout Factory releases are too nice to not leave on. And then a few of the Studio Ghibli Blu-rays I have, which is also released partly by Shout Factory. And then a handful of, or only a couple of the MVD releases, some Twilight Time, and then some KL Studio Classics, which I really love these releases as well. They release a lot of really good stuff that desperately deserved a Blu-ray release. And then, of course, the Criterions follow suit underneath. My little Criterion collection. I don't have a ton of them, but I got a few Criterions, and then my tiny little Arrow collection kind of ends it off. And this bottom shelf's got actually just some DVD box sets and stuff that I don't really have room on. This, which is my DVDs, which are still out in full force. I don't really buy DVDs. Occasionally, if I come across something doesn't have a Blu-ray release, or I'll still pick up DVDs from time to time. But yeah, that's kind of what I've done with the first big shelf here. Now these shelves here, I'll eventually probably replace with one or two of these tall shelves, but these are two small shelves stacked together. And I had to separate all my non-North American Blu-rays, not the films themselves, but the Blu-ray releases. So I've got like a few Korean Blu-rays here, and then a couple Japanese, and then some Chinese releases there. And then my tiny bit of European. Now these are all just alphabetical together. Like there are UK releases, there's a Spanish Leon, and German Neon Demon 4K, and they're not. I don't have them separated by country, but there's kind of all meshed together. And then underneath, because I just have the space, I moved some of the television I have down here. And then this is the main bulk of the collection now, which I still have my bigger box sets at the top, which fit nicely. I don't buy a lot of box sets. I'm not a huge fan of box sets. I prefer individual releases when I can get them, but there's a few up there. And then the way I've got these sorted out now is I actually start with it's kind of just a bunch of bigger, thicker boxes, digibooks. I picked up these cool Lego lenticular covers. I just got the Man of Steel. See that? These are really cool. Batman v Superman, which this poster has not been box art here before, so it's kind of a cool treat. And then the Wonder Woman, and then my larger, thicker collector's editions of a few here, and then the digibooks, which I threw the Back to the Future trilogy into because it's a digibook. Digibooks, and then my one digipack, which I'm not a fan of those, but I have the one, so I stick it up there. I just like to keep the Amarais, standard Amarais, all together. I just like the look of it. And then next I keep my steelbooks, which I keep. Now this, I'm not cheating a little bit. This is not a steelbook, but it kind of goes along with the rest of these. These are Korean releases, which are not with the other Korean Blu-rays because I keep them with the steelbooks because there are steelbooks in here. And then my few oh my god, what's the word? Why am I forgetting? The Mondo. My few Mondo steelbooks. It's really hard. There's a lot of glare in this room, I know. So, a few Mondos, and then just my A to Z steelbooks. Maybe it's a little better if I hide the light. Yeah, just which for a while I kind of got out of getting steelbooks. I didn't really want it too much anymore, but I've kind of gotten back into collecting steelbooks. So don't have as many, or I might be about close now, but I got rid of a lot of what I had before, and I've gotten a lot of new ones. So steelbooks, and then the rest of the shelves are all my standard Amarais cases. There's the occasional one here, like Blade Runner, for example, that's a bit thicker. The reason I keep them like this is because each one of these squares comfortably hold 13 standard Blu-rays. So when you mix digibooks and steelbooks and thicker ones and all this stuff, it throws off. Trying to fit them in gets kind of thrown off. And like I said, there are one or two in here that are a bit thicker, but it still kind of works. It's part of the reason mixing all the thicker box to UK releases a little bit of a nightmare, because like if you're moving say you're trying to move one Blu-ray around, and you get to a shelf that has a couple UK then Blu-rays, they don't fit. You got to move another one, and it's a pain. So, yeah. So that's. And speaking of space, might notice something a little odd. I've heard this idea before. I thought I'd give it a try, and that's leaving little gaps throughout the collection. If these were snug up to the beginning, there'd be quite a few empty shelves at the bottom. But instead, I've kind of left some gaps throughout, so when I get a new one, I can fit it into the collection easier. And I tell you, it's super convenient. It's so much easier when I get, something, like, let's say I bought Field of Dreams today. Then I could just easily just pop it in there by moving these around a little bit. It's so much easier than having to shuffle everything from the bottom up or the top down. And at first I was a little, like, my OCD's kind of picking at me a bit, but it's kind of grown on me. I think I'm going to leave it this way for a while. So, there's my cat. Psst. Oh, you say hi? Oh, yeah, I know. Okay, anyway, yeah, so that is kind of just a grand overview of my collection. Now, something else that I've really been working hard at for better part of the last couple of years. I live in Canada. Anybody who's watching this who is Canadian, you may sympathize with this or think I'm crazy, but I do not buy Canadian releases for the most part. I avoid them. I've gotten rid of what I had, and I got a couple still kicking. And this is why, in case you're new, I've mentioned this before in previous videos, but I do not like, and I know other countries have this as well, it's not just Canada, but I do not like bilingual packaging. It drives me nuts. I like the clean look of the American releases. So I think I'm down to maybe 5 or 6 out of about 1,300 still have French titles on the spine. And then I also do not enjoy or do not like this. See, this has French and English text, even though the spine only has one title. So the ones that have these little, like, version français inclus, like French version included, those, like this, for example, I really want to replace this with a US release. I know it sounds crazy to a lot of people. There's Apollo 13s like that too. But it's just a thing that I just like the look. Like, part of my collection, I don't collect Blu-rays just to watch them. I collect them to have a collection, and I enjoy the aesthetic. I enjoy the look of them. I like displaying them. So having ugly, cluttered packaging, I don't like it. And I know a lot, if it doesn't bother, if you live in Canada or you live in another country that has dual language Blu-rays and doesn't bother you, that's, I don't fault anyone for it. I don't look down on anybody for it. It's fine. It's me. It's a personal thing. So I buy all my Blu-rays that have come from the United States for the most part. There are some Canadian releases that, from major publishers that do come with one language, and I believe it's due to the language track. If it has a French language track, then I believe it requires dual languages on the outside artwork, something like that. But yeah, for the most part, I buy everything either from the United States, either through online shopping, or I live close to the border, so we'll go over once a month or so. Like, I picked up, a couple days ago, we're over there. I picked up a handful while I'm over there, just things I've been wanting to get. Here's one example here: Time to Kill. Been wanting that for a long time. Found it at the Best Buy bargain bin in the States for $6. Grabbed it. So yeah, there's a time when I think I had, I still had 200 or 300 Blu-rays that had French and English text on the artwork, and I've dwindled it down to, I think, less than 20 total. And then the other thing is, there are I won't mention them by name, but there are Canadian distribution companies, and their Blu-rays are they're ugly. And most of them, like Lionsgate, does not release in Canada. So a lot of Lionsgate releases, A24 releases, they're split up between these different Canadian distributors, and it's just, their artwork looks ugly and cheap, and I prefer just getting the Lionsgate release. So that's something I've been working hard at, and I'm happy with. Right, there's a few I still got to replace, like that American Graffiti I showed you, but for the most part, my collection is I'm happy with where my collection is right now, and yeah, I will. I think I'll leave it at that, and very shortly I will get into a more in-depth collection video for 2019. Might be over the course of the next little while, but I'll do what I can, and I'll probably split it up into a handful of videos as well, or I'll try to get through without. I know a lot of the positive comments I get, people enjoy me talking about the releases more than just going through the titles, so that's what leads to having 5 or 6 or 7 different videos, because to go through, I'll probably just do what's down here. So let's say 1,000, give or take 1,000 Blu-rays, talking about most of them, it takes a lot of time. And I like to keep my videos short, like half hour or less if I can. So that's why I split them up. And then going forward, if I can, I'll try to do some Blu-ray update videos as well, so I don't have to do complete collection videos every 6 months. So again, thank you very much for watching. Anyone who's stuck around over the past several months, I really appreciate it. I know I have not put anything out, but I appreciate all the kind words and all the feedback. And yeah, so you guys take care, and I'll see you in the next video.